Hello, my fellow comic collectors. My name is Hagen on Lettuce Comics. I'm joined as always by Nate of Hollywood Comics, and we are joined by a very important person to us. This is Alan
Hmm?
from Comic Collector Geek. How are you doing today, bud?
Where's this important person that you're talking about?
It's
Well,
you.
it's obviously you, man. I mean, you do us the honor of inviting us every week to come and ruin your very nice high class show.
Okay, I'm not sure about the high class show part, but sure.
It was before we got there. And now it's us and Matt showing off Ferret every week.
Yeah. So it's always cool. I actually like the fact that you showed the ferret. So yeah. Yeah. It's great to be here. I like being invited to places.
Well,
So
everyone does, and we're
Mhm.
returning the favor because, like he said, you invite us every week, and we have a ton of fun. But I mean, if you just look behind you, I mean, look at that collection, right? Like you have
Mhm.
amassed awesome books.
Yeah,
So
too many
this is
actually.
well, I'm sure we can find new homes for some of them. But I mean, this is like, Sunday morning, we just chill out and talk and
Mhm.
give you a chance. I want to know like things about how you collect. So we
Okay.
do have a lot of people in chat already. We should probably say good morning
Oh
to.
wow.
Yeah.
People getting up
So
this early is crazy.
People
well,
get up.
the earliest person was Eric from SideQuest. This message was posted at 1:24 a.m.
He never
Um,
sleeps.
yeah,
He's been
and
waiting a
then
while.
I guess so. And then, as always, JSS Brooklyn. How are you doing, man?
Hey,
Yes.
JSS.
And then, like, SideQuest is actually here apparently, because that was at
Okay, cool.
9:04. Crom, 6:30 a.m. on the West Coast. You do us a massive honor by being
Yeah.
here, sir.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Um, and then Matt from Matt Likes Comics,
I
another
know him.
another frequent guest of your show, Alan.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, K Munin. So the fact that I've already
Hey,
mentioned the ferret has got to be music to his ears.
already
Yeah.
ruined his Sunday.
Jason from Renegade
Hey,
Rants, how are you
Jason.
doing, man? Michael, just
Just
Michael.
Michael.
Good morning.
Very cool.
Christopher Parker, listen to what your boss is saying to you right now. Don't be focusing on us. Listen to your boss right now. They're saying something important. Listen to them right now. Hey, man, how are you doing? And Doug, the comic collector coach.
Hey.
We still have people coming in.
Yeah, they keep coming.
Jeff from Comic Spa,
Oh,
one of my
Wow,
dads.
Jeff.
Brian LCS, happy
Hey.
Sunday.
Hey,
How
Brian.
are you, sir? Cliff from Cliff on Comics.
Wow, cool.
The
Also
comic
from everywhere.
community's- Yeah, the comic community's most relaxed member. The
Oh, it's
incomparable Dope
Dope comics, cool.
and
Dope.
the
He has
ineffable
an
Steve.
awesome collection. Have you
Oh
had
my-
him on your show a few times, or?
We spent the weekend with him.
I
Yeah.
know, yeah.
He has not been on this show yet. He will be.
Oh,
He
okay.
will be.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is
awesome
he is a
collection.
future guest for sure. We're gonna make him do it. And I think
You
that's
made it.
Sorry, Comic
Oh,
Mike.
Comic Mike.
Comic
He's
Mike, how are
Comic
you
Mike.
doing?
I just
sir?
talked to Comic Mike yesterday. I interviewed him. He's going to be on my
Cool.
interview show next week.
Very
Very
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a good guy.
you and Matt do that a lot too, which I think is super cool. Like
Yeah.
talk to newer collectors and people with newer channels and highlight them.
Yeah, I'm
So,
always open to interview people. I just I'm very lax about it in a way because I kind of need them to reach out to me rather than me reaching out to them because I'm terrible
Mhm.
at scheduling things.
yeah. Which is why you're so successful in your business.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm just sort of always busy with my business. Even today, I
Yeah.
got stuff I'm doing for my business. It's crazy.
Mhm.
It's Sunday. You got to take the
Yeah,
day.
I don't get any breaks off. Yeah, it's weird.
Well, Hagen, do you have something to start with?
To show off?
Or no, I have a question for Al.
No,
Mhm.
I had questions as well because the thing that I like about this is that like we get to talk to you and you get to, more importantly, you get to talk to us.
Sure.
Like I like giving people a chance to talk about themselves, and I have been wondering like what got you started in this? Like what's your earliest like comic book memory, I guess?
Um, I'm not sure if you guys like, you guys didn't have the Whitman three packs, but that's a Canadian thing where you get the 3 packs of comics,
Okay.
and it would be like it would be in the pack and then the ring. I just remember opening one of those up for Christmas. That's kind of my earliest comic book memory, and like getting I think it was like Uncle Scrooge and Richie Rich and all those kind of books, and Donald Duck. Actually, I actually remember what it was. The first one I actually opened was like, it was a collection of Donald Duck ones, like Disney comics, 3 Disney comics. So yeah, that's kind of my earliest memories of
And
comic collecting.
it came up the other day that like you were one of these kids who you weren't allowed to read like the violent books. You were
No
only allowed to read the
superheroes.
funny books.
No, yeah, it was all like kids books. It's like Richie Rich, Uncle Scrooge, Disney comics. Pretty much that was and Archie. Archie was allowed as well.
But I mean,
So
there's great books there. I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah, there's great
good
books there,
reading
but
there.
in a way, it really took me a lot to get over. Like for me, those were books you just read and kind of tossed away in a way. Like I didn't really think of those as collectible.
Okay.
So it took me. It wasn't even till I would say like maybe 7 years ago, that I started considering those books as something to collect. I just saw
So
them as kids' books. It's weird. I collected them mainly just because I liked them, but I didn't think of them as having any value, if that
you
makes
did a
sense.
you did a couple videos not too long ago where you had picked up some boxes from your parents' house
Hmm.
of your older books, and there were some things in there that cracked me up. Like, I mean, I saw a '90s image, um,
Yeah,
and things that I would not equate you with, right? Like when I see your collection and what you focus on now. So
yeah.
in those early days where you're reading, more funny books or kid friendly books, when did you make that jump into into superhero stuff, and what got you what got your eye? What were you picking up? Like
So what
what
happened
character?
was, once I went to university, I was like, okay, I'm free. I can do whatever I want now.
Yeah.
so so and it was kind of at the height of the comic boom, like, when I was in university. So this is like 1991,
Okay.
and it was amazing how many comic shops there were. Even like, I was in a small town. My town is Halifax, Nova Scotia. I didn't wasn't raised in Halifax. That's where my university was. Um, and what happened was, there was just comic shops everywhere. And I was like, I didn't know what to collect. I was interested, but I didn't know what to collect. So it was like, oh, you got to get Image, you got to get this, you got to get, and it was like, okay. And then I sort of gravitated to like, Lady Death, Evil Ernie, and all that kind of stuff, and like all the good girl, like the modern good girl, I guess it'd be like,
Yeah. But
Lady Rawhide and
you did like a total
Vampirella.
180
What?
from Donald Duck to Lady Death. It's
Oh
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was totally like, it's like, let the pervy boy out. So so yeah, so I was just like, I collected all that stuff. Like I really got into Malibu. Like I really liked Malibu.
so you were
And
way ahead of the curve.
well, not really. I felt like it's all dollar bin stuff now.
Yeah,
I
but I mean, that's what we're all laughing about now and bringing back,
Yeah.
but you were into it for
Well,
real, which is
I tried to get
funny.
every title that they had. Like, so, they had so many crappy titles.
Mhm.
It's just like,
Yes,
They sure did.
like I liked Mantra, I liked Prime. They even had like, what was it? Something like Ecto or something, some like, or
Oh, yeah.
like some
Were
slime or
they
something like that.
were they Warriors of Plasm? Was
No,
that theirs
Warriors of
too?
Plasm was actually, I was thinking about it. Warriors of Plasm, I think, was like, I want to say Dark Horse, but it was one of
Okay.
those not Malibu. Or it was Valiant, or one of those ones. But yeah, I didn't know what to collect. In a way, I kind of went through that collector's journey where you kind of get lots of bad advice, especially, one of the things that people like to do, if a newbie comes into a shop and they say, what should I collect? And it's like, oh, this Turok, it's gonna be worth a lot.
Yeah. Gold
You know, it's like,
foil.
let's get rid of all the junk on
Mhm.
this guy that doesn't know what he's talking about.
God,
So
that's
yeah,
so cruel. It's so cruel to do
Yeah,
that to
I
a
hate
person.
that. Like,
but
I don't know.
it's a rite of passage, I think, that you have to go through. And so yeah, I went through that, and then I really sort of kind of, because I didn't have much money, but I gravitated actually off of all that to I really liked Vampirella. She's by far my favorite character, and I got into Warren Publishing.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
sort of became obsessed with the idea that I could get the complete collection. I'm a very much a completionist in the way I collect. So I got everything that they ever produced. Everything. I have that complete collection still. So
Very
So what
cool.
else? What else do they publish besides Vampirella?
Vampirella, Creepy Eerie, Famous Monsters,
Okay.
A Blazing Combat, Help, um, Freak Out USA, Heidi Saha, um, what else? Uh, Wildest Westerns. Uh, there's like so many titles, like just a crazy number of titles. So I got them all. And then I tried to go
Wow.
for all the foreign editions as well.
Yeah, you go hard.
Yeah, I
That's
got
a
every
lot.
Spanish one. I got every British one. I got most of the Australian. I most of the German as well. Yeah, so I went pretty hard on it. It's pretty crazy.
That's cool.
There are a couple of questions in the chat, and I
I
want to I want to like sort of segue into that. Um, so you like found your niche, and I'm curious as to like when you started doing the graded book thing, because you have one of the largest like graded book collections that I've
Yeah.
seen. And the reason why I ask that is because JSS Brooklyn has actually asked a couple questions. One, what are your feelings about restored versus conserved from CGC? And
Okay.
also, what is the impact of tariffs on grading and submissions with CGC as a Canadian, if there has been one that you've noticed already?
So because I don't, as a Canadian, you don't really like. Well, you do, but you don't get books graded. It's really hard. You're already getting screwed over with the shipping. The shipping is just brutal to Canada. That's more of an issue than anything else.
Mhm.
And then customs right now, they're really confused what to do with books. So it's not the cost that's really the issue. It's more the dealing with customs that they really don't know what to do. Like, so they're like, I like my current unboxing is Unboxing from Hell, where customs basically held the books because it was sent out just as like that whole Trump tariff thing was happening.
Mhm.
So the customs basically held the books and were like, we don't know what to do with these. Like, and they held it for like they held my books for like a month, and
wow.
they returned them to the sender. They didn't know what to do with them in a way, and that's more the issue than anything. Um, and yeah, what was the other part of that?
Conserved versus restored with
Yeah,
CGC.
so the way I see it is this. The weird thing about it is conserved. If you look at the prices and the value you can get for a conserved book versus restored, okay?
Mhm.
A conserved book looks better in the label. Like it looks, if you don't kind of notice it, you might think it's actually a blue label because it's got that little gray at the top, but it's a blue label. Um, it looks better in the slab, but the problem with conserved is the prices are about half of what a blue label are. Okay, so at the high grades, that means that they are half of whatever the value is, and that isn't a big deal. Okay, so that's not too bad because the restored books, they go for about a tenth of the value of that at the high grades. Okay, at the
Okay.
low grades though, restored versus blue label, almost the same price. Very little price difference, maybe 90% of the price. So it's a little bit of a discount, but not like, so like a 1.0 0.5, does it really matter that it's restored at that point? It's like,
Right.
you can rip off the part that's restored at that point. It's still going to get the same grade. So generally at those lower grades, you find that it's like 90% of the price. A conserved, for some strange reason, conserved at those low grades, still half the price. So you really have to like say, okay, well, here buying conserved makes sense. At this lower grade, maybe it doesn't make sense. So you have to figure out what your battle, where to buy it, I guess, if you're going to buy conserved. So it's one of those things I was kind of shocked by. Like you'd think that always the conserved grade would be more valuable, but often it's the other way around, where the restored one's more valuable.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
Yeah, it is weird. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but that's the way it is.
Do you think that might just be because there was such a culture of restoring books, like especially from the Golden Age?
Yeah, so the restore, like I remember one of my shop owners when I was collecting in the 90s bragging that he had just picked up a really beat up copy of Batman 1 and that he was going to get it sent off to get professionally restored, like where they can make it look like brand new. And that was a big thing to do, and that was really, really common. And people bragged about it back then. It was just CGC kind of changed the people's attitudes. I actually think that people's attitudes might change back, especially if you look at the census. I mean, if you look at the census for Golden Age books, half the census could be like, restored. So it doesn't make sense that people kind of stigmatize half the books that are available. Doesn't make doesn't make too much sense.
Well, like it's like with a lot of antiques, coin collecting, in anything that's super old.
Well, coins they're actually harsh on as well.
Right. They want that, like if you touch it, you've ruined it,
Yeah.
and people want those things in whatever state they're in because it shows that age and that history. And I wonder.
But I feel like there's a bit of hypocrisy with it because pressing and all that kind of stuff is allowed. It's like certain things like that a kind of modifying or kind of trying to get a grade boost will go under the radar and not get flagged, which is kind of weird. And even the grading companies offer it themselves. Yeah,
and we talked with Jeff from Comic Spa, and he's here in the chat today, and he has a very interesting perspective on what it is that he does with books, that he's not trying to put them back into their original condition. He's just trying to get them into the best stable condition they can be.
Yeah.
And I
think that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah. There's an expertise he has that's just outstanding.
The weird thing is like, though, some of the restoration that's considered a restoration is really dumb. Trimming, which is considered the worst type of restoration. If you get like, especially the books with marble chipping, if you can trim it, it'll actually prevent the chipping from getting further into the book, like where it really takes the book apart. Because really what happened was the trimming is caused by the fact that when they cut the book in the first place, it wasn't done properly. So if you can actually trim it properly, you can actually protect the book. And often it's just maybe a millimeter or a couple millimeters that you're removing. And it doesn't impact the cover. It doesn't impact it just makes it look like correct. However, that's restoration. That's gonna get you probably the worst value out of your book, right? Because people hate trimming. However, if you rip, like literally rip the edge along, and do it in the most ugly way, that's not restoration. That's just a book that's been ripped. So that kind of thing just I always thought was kind of silly.
Yeah.
There are a ton of things in any like collectible market, not just comic books, but in any collectible market that seem counterintuitive and that don't make sense. And whether or not it's just like this is what the crowd at large thinks. Like, Alan, I think think we've talked about this, or I think that you've talked about this.
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't bother me at all. Like, if I'm going to be getting books where I have to consider, like, do I want to try and find a blue label, a quote unquote blue label, or try and
Yeah.
find a quote unquote purple or green label, like, I don't care. Like, if it's trimmed,
Yeah,
to
me
me,
too.
that just means like I get the book at a huge discount, like
Yeah.
that doesn't bother me at all. And so, like, whether or not the public at large thinks that that's a horrible, awful, no good, very bad thing to do to a book, like,
hmm
it's kind of up to you. And it's kind of great if it doesn't bother you, but it bothers everybody else. Like,
Yeah, I see it as a
just get
buying
it. You just get
opportunity.
a discount.
Yeah, I mean, the one I showed it on Friday on
Right.
our show was my Phantom Lady 17, right? As I said, there was a lower grade that sold for 400,000, right? A lower grade than the one I have. Mine's restored. It's a half grade higher than the one that sold for 400,000. It's still an expensive book. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still an expensive book, but it was 14,000. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got a book that looks better than the highest grade, like the highest graded blue label.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it for a fraction of the price. And I don't care that it's restored. I think it looks beautiful. I think it looks awesome.
Yeah,
It's
you saved a digit in the
well,
price
yeah, more than
category.
a digit, like
Yeah.
4 times and a digit. So 40 times, it's crazy.
And you said earlier, and this could be true. Like, attitudes used to be different.
Yeah, it could
CGC
switch.
changed it. If those attitudes change again, I mean, that
Yeah.
could really be a really smart investment when it comes
Yeah.
to those books. If people start to appreciate them at the same level, those prices would go up, and you made out when prices were low.
That's why I do see it as an investment. That's a smart investment. Right now, you'll find that the books will be a percentage, right? And if that percentage and it doesn't, like, so as long as the blue books keep on going up, the purple books will go up, and as within that same percentages. So yeah, my thought is, like, instead of being 1/20th, if it goes to 1/10th, which is like not even that, that's not that unreasonable, because it's,
Right.
so yeah, I could, be a huge upswing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the attitudes, who knows what the attitudes will be. I'm happy that the attitudes are what they are right now, because I'm picking up cool books.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So
And I think
speaking of
go ahead.
speaking of cool books, I wanted to give you more than enough time to show off anything that you might have brought today,
I brought a
if you
bunch of stuff today.
wanted to.
So
Do that.
okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out, if you want me to show some stuff.
Heck
I'm
yeah.
going to start
Oh.
out with one quirky book for you guys.
Hey, can I ask you real quick? Dope
Yeah.
wants to know, what do you think about green labels?
I don't really like green labels.
And
I sounds very. I do buy a few.
explain the difference for people who don't know. I mean, not me, because I know. I don't know.
So
What's a
actually,
green label?
So there's a couple opportunities though in green labels, I have to say. One is okay, so green labels are books that are incomplete. That's
Okay.
usually the definition of a green label. However, that isn't always the case. So I have a really high graded book from the Golden Age. I think it's like Felix the Cat. Okay, Felix the Cat #1. And it's like a 8 or 9. It's in that range, and it's got a green label. Now, the reason it's got a green label is it's missing the staples, but it was manufactured without staples. So actually, it's a rare variant where they just didn't ever put the staples in. It's like an error.
Now,
right?
why was that not considered a manufacturing error?
Well, that's what I'm saying. But CGC does that, where if the staples aren't there, it's considered incomplete, even though there was never ever staples in the first place. So that actually should be worth more than the blue label version of the same book. But people just see the green label and say, oh, it must be worth less. But if you actually explain to people what it is, then they'll realize, oh, it's a rare error printing, and it's actually worth more. So there's opportunities there where people just see the green label and go, oh, I'm not touching that.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think is really funny is CGC recently got into doing verified signatures. Before, though, if you had some stupid kid's name written all over your book, they would just, they would be a blue label, but maybe they'll lower the grade a bit. But if it was actually the artist or creator that was involved that signed it, they would give you a green label. So in a weird way, they were verifying the signatures by giving it a green label, because that it must be something that's maybe legit.
Yeah.
Because they're giving it the green label. So, and those books generally go for less. Like I picked up Beavis and Butthead's first appearance. I think it's in Marvel presentation, or Marvel, one of those Marvel books. And it had the signatures of all the creators, like 5 or 6 signatures on the book. Okay.
Mhm.
So pretty cool, but it was green label because they didn't verify the signatures. But I know the guy that got it, and he said that they're all real. It was just at a con. They were all there, and he got all the signatures.
Right. And
now I could probably send it in and get the gold label, right? But because it had, all these signatures and the green label, I got it for, I think it was about half of what the blue label sold for. But it's a much cooler book, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, things like that. It's just, there are opportunities with green labels that, another thing that will get a green label is Married. If people mix 2 books together. So that's another green label.
I know I've seen incomplete books, but they'll say right on the thing as well that it doesn't affect the story. Like, a centerfold's missing or something, but it's just an ad.
Yeah,
I
like
don't
missing
think
ad pages, stuff like that.
that wouldn't bother me. Or if somebody cut out the Marvel value stamp, I don't think I would care. I would care if I was, and Dope said something along those lines. Like if the story was incomplete, I wouldn't be happy with
the
that.
Weirdest one
at
I
any
have
point.
actually is green label, is the one right there. I'm not sure if you can see it. The Girl on the Moon, Miss Scarlett O'Hara.
Uh-huh.
You see it right there? It's a green label. That book, you know how like there's always like the white margin that goes around the panels?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had cut like a triangle out of that margin. Okay? So there's a piece of the margin that's missing. It's just white. Doesn't affect art. It's like a cutout, but and that's it. That's why it's a green label. It's like, okay, well, do I really care at that point?
That's a really big example. Like I think that all of this can be summed up as like buy the book, don't buy the grade.
Yes.
Because like there are
don't
some,
buy the label.
Yeah, don't buy the label, because there are some things that would get green labels, like that issue. I wouldn't care at all. It doesn't bother me one bit. But then like if somebody wrote, like a kid wrote their name all over the front of a book, like I don't care if it's like a $1 book or like around there, but if I'm buying something that's in a slab, it's certainly not a $1 book, and that would probably get on my nerves a lot more than the Marvel value stamp missing or something like that. So that's just odd.
And
I have a few really annoying books where somebody went crazy. I think there's a pedigree almost, where there's this one collector that wrote his name and the year all over the books. And he deliberately wrote them on the girls' bodies, like the year, like over and over again. And it's like, I've seen like maybe about 30 books that all have the same style, like the same way that it's done. So I feel like it's a kind of a weird pedigree. Some stupid
odd.
kid in 1947 did this.
I've always said, and I don't mind when a kid writes their name on a comic book. They were trying to make sure some other kid didn't steal it from them. They were like, that's my copy of Superman, Billy. You ain't touching it. It's got
Yeah,
it says on there right there, Dennis Jones. That's me, Dennis Jones.
I've seen
So-
ones with their full address and stuff, and I'm like, I actually looked up a few.
I've not seen.
Yeah, filled in on
I
like
found-
the mailer on the back where it's like
I've seen the
Billy
filled
in
Billy
mailer
that
too,
lives
yeah.
at like 123 Main
Right.
or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
geez,
I have-
kid.
I have come across that.
I have your
before.
book.
send a like the serial killer letter where you cut out different
Yeah.
letters from a magazine. If you ever want to see Superman 123 again. Well, Alan, you said you brought a lot of stuff. Let's
Yeah, I brought a
give you a
ton of
chance
stuff
to
to show.
showing some things you brought because
Okay, so
we
I'm
all
going to
revel
show.
in
This
your
is a quirky
collection.
book because I know you guys like the more quirky stuff. So
Yeah,
this
we
first
do.
one is Ace Comics. I forgot what issue number it is actually. Jeez, the annoying thing is that they don't say what the issue number is. Okay,
Yeah.
but just remember this cover, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
It's like one of those victory gardens, okay?
Yeah.
This is the first appearance of Captain Tootsie.
Okay.
You know the Tootsie ads that you'd see
Yeah.
in the comics?
Yes.
This is the first appearance of Captain Tootsie.
Somebody showed a Captain Tootsie comic, like it was the title.
Yeah, there
of
is
the
a
book.
Captain Tootsie comic. I think it ran 2 issues. So
I'm surprised they could stretch the theme that long. Eating candy.
And actually, he makes a comeback recently in Savage Dragon. They brought him back.
Oh, that's great.
I thought he teamed up with Blade.
Yeah, that'd be funny. So yeah, and the other thing, I showed my what's it called? My Uncle Scrooge stuff. But another thing that I was really into as a kid was Snoopy. I had the Snoopy doll, and there was clothing you could buy for the Snoopy where you could dress them up as like whatever crazy things, like a fisherman or dentist or whatever, some random stuff and so I had all the different costumes for this Snoopy doll.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got into trying to get the bigger books and chasing after it, I had to get his first appearance. So this is the first appearance of Snoopy in comics.
Very cool.
Tip Top.
Wow.
173. It's got Nancy and Sluggo on the cover.
How does he appear in there? Is it like his own? Is it a strip or?
It's a strip. It's a comic strip. Yeah. And then
now did you have the Snoopy the Snoopy snow cone maker?
No, I know it though. I remember that. And then you'd get the little thing you'd pour on. It was just like it was just ice, and then you'd pour some stuff.
Ice, and you'd pour sugared syrup on top of it. But as a kid, your parents would give you ice cubes and you grind that.
I really wanted that. One of my friends had it, and I was like so jealous. But yeah, my parents would get me weird things, but not the weird things that I wanted. So
right.
What's that movie where they said, I think it's like Addams Family. I wanted the Malibu whatever, and then she goes crazy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh no. Yeah, that one. No, I have no idea.
No.
Oh, it's
Hagen's.
it's the one where Uncle Fester, he dates this girl that's a serial killer. She kills her husbands.
Yeah, it's Joan Cusack.
Joan Cusack.
Yeah.
The reason she gives that she goes crazy is that I wanted the Malibu Stacy, and they gave me the other.
Right.
Yeah.
They gave her the wrong toy as a kid, and it made her insane. So made her a murderer.
Yeah, exactly. So that explains my origin. Okay.
Had you been given the Snoopy snow cone maker, your trajectory in life would be completely.
I would be
different.
like president of the world or something.
You'd be prime minister.
Prime minister. Yeah. Well, that's not a good trajectory. Okay. Okay. So then this is the other. So that is the first. The one I just showed was the first appearance. This is also called the first appearance of Snoopy. It came out a week later though. It's like there's a week or two between the two. So
this is the Hulk 180, Hulk 181 of Snoopy.
Very much so. Very much so. But I'm the way I collect is I like to have the first appearance and the first cover appearance, if I can get that, right? So, you get the, it especially when they're in a slab, you can't even read the story, right? So it's really lame. Oh, this is the first appearance of Snoopy, and like
He's
it
not. He's
doesn't-
not even on the cover.
he's not on the cover, so you can't tell. But this is the first cover appearance of Snoopy,
Oh, very
my
cool.
God,
and
that's
you got like
awesome.
Snoopy looking kind of different than what we think of
Well,
Snoopy
Mhm.
looking now.
yeah, the early I had all these little digests of Peanuts as a kid,
Mhm.
and those early ones are so different looking.
Yeah.
They really do have a golden age look to them. That is cool.
And actually, this one's kind of cool because I feel like for once Charlie Brown's kind of getting the upper hand on Lucy. He's
yeah,
like,
that's
you know,
different as well. You're right.
there's what's the cartoon? I feel like it's like Robot Chicken or one of those ones where they have oh no, it's Family Guy, where he's
Okay.
like
Yeah,
where he gets mad
where
at Lucy for not holding the football.
he snaps and just beats the ever loving hell out of her. Yeah.
It's such a funny episode.
It's
So,
what
yeah.
we've always wanted to see.
Yeah, it's just so she's so mean about the footballs, grabbing the football at the last second. Poor Charlie Brown. I always related to Charlie Brown as a kid.
I think anyone who collects comics did at some
Probably
point.
did, yeah.
It's why
So
we're all here.
What issue number was that? Just out of curiosity.
It's Tip Top number 185.
185. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a really sweet cover, I think.
Yeah, I
like
really
it.
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
it's really cute. I really like Peanuts. So I figured I should show, like, I'm gonna show you sort of different facets of the way I think or the way I collect.
Mhm.
The other thing that I've been really more into recently, getting more and more into, actually my very first Golden Age comic was a pre-code horror comic from EC. I got it for $20. I remember how much I paid. I forgot. I think it's Vault of Horror or one of those ones. I have it somewhere. But I really like pre-code horror, and there just wasn't any available when I was growing up. You know, it was scarce.
Yeah.
And it was something that a lot of dealers would never even sell. You know, even if you wanted it and they had it, they would not sell it. You know, it's
Because
sort
they
of like,
wanted to sit on it, or
I think they just loved hoarding it. Everyone, it's sort of like, you know, if you look at the numbers of pre-code horror books, it's like under 100. You know, and these are some of them are pretty cool. So I have this thing where I like I'm really into zombies. Like I like The Walking Dead and all those kind of shows. I like the original what's it called? Jeez. The black and white one.
Night of the Living Dead?
Night
George
of the Living
Romero?
Dead. Yes, Night of the
Great
Living Dead.
movie.
Martha. So that was such a great movie. Actually, my daughter would watch it when she was 6. So like it was a great movie. So I like zombies or kind of graveyard scenes. So this is kind of one that has a little bit of that. He's like making a call to his wife. And it's like Strange Mysteries number 11 from 1953. And it's like, let me see if I can read it. Hey, it's me, darling. I'm calling from the grave. And you just hear, ee. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's really cute. So I like these, like, you know, guy coming out of the grave thing, returning from the dead. And same idea. I feel like this is like, I feel like there's a true 3 of these that you had to get, like if you were into this kind of stuff. And this is the second one, where it's the guy and he's with his dead corpse bride.
Yeah, that's unsettling.
Yes, yeah, it is. And the guy looks like deranged, you know. If you look
Right.
at his face.
Is that an homage to oh man, what is that painting? It's the one of the guy killing his son. It's not Kronos devouring his son, but I think it's the same artist. Steppo, if he's still in chat, will probably chime in with the name of the painting.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't think it is, but
it does have those vibes. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. So it's this one is done by Bernard Bailey. It's 1954. It's Weird Mysteries. Really good title, by the way. Lots of cool covers in this title.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
Yeah.
Great trade dress too. I
Yeah, I
love
like the
the
weird mysteries.
horror books have great trade dresses.
It's Ivan the Terrible and his son, by the way.
Okay.
Ivan the Terrible. Yes, I do know the one. I used to be into art, by the way, way back in the day.
Well,
Well,
you
not
still are. It's just art for children now.
Yeah.
yeah. I owned one of the most popular online art galleries at one time. It's
Very
just,
cool.
yeah, it's just that's going back to my old business years.
How the hell has that never come up?
Right? Oh,
Yeah,
I used to.
it was a big it was mentioned on CNN News and everything. It was like a big deal back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, we'll
it's just
circle back to that later.
yeah, it's just a weird thing. So I became an art expert, even though I never studied art as a kid, but yeah, it was a weird background. So yeah, so the next one that's sort of in that sort of same theme of pre-code horror and dating the undead. Is this guy's going on a date. The weird thing is everyone else is like skeletons, so maybe
Right.
he is the weird one out. Yeah.
So the guy on the bottom there really reminds me of Tarman from Return of the Living Dead. If you've ever seen that,
Oh
one of my
yes,
favorite
yeah,
zombie movies.
yeah. I
Uh,
recognize that. Yeah,
and it just kind of has that same look.
yeah. I can see that. Um, I really like those Return of the Living Deads, by the way. I
Oh
think it's
yeah, I
number
do too.
3 with the girl. That's kind of a romantic story where she
Uh-huh.
like has to injure herself in order to stay normal. I guess
Right.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she had
So
like
like,
all these
okay,
glass shards in her in at the end. Yeah.
I've never heard of this particular like spell stories to hold you spellbound. I've never heard of
Yeah.
this particular title, and you said that like there's only maybe 100 on the census or in existence
Yeah, this
in
one would be
collection.
less than that. It'd be more like 20 or 30.
So it's almost lost, right? Like I
Yeah.
mean,
And this was a title by Marvel. You'll see it says Atlas Comics at the top.
I wish I collect a lot of the EC collections because I just like to read the stories. I wish that they could find a way to do some of these in that way, the more obscure ones, so that they could just be read because they're not as many out there and they're not as well known.
Well, so for me, I like reading the comics online. Anyways, I just had so many like traumatic things that happened to me in my comic book collecting experience, like just where I ripped like a
Yeah.
super rare book, and I
Oh
just like
yeah.
I just ever since then I just been really paranoid of reading my. I know it sounds really dumb, but
No, I get it. There's some books you maybe kind of want to leave in the bag just because of that.
yeah. And then some I've had like literally fall apart in my hands, and I was like, oh crap, I just wish I had left. It looked beautiful when it was in the bag, and then
Yep.
you open it up and it's just like brittle and falls apart. So yeah, I generally read my books online. There is a site that is called Comic Book Plus where you can read the older books.
Okay.
So they don't have everything, but they would have something like that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Spellbound actually had a lot of Russ Heath art, and there's some really cool covers. Yeah, I really like Spellbound. It's
And
good.
that issue, I did just look it up. There are only 58 copies of it that have been
Okay,
graded.
58. Yeah, I
But
knew it
like,
was like some lower census.
yeah, but like, still, 58 is not a lot of copies that are out there. Like, you're
No.
holding a large measurable fraction of the entirety of the census. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
that's
and if you look
crazy.
at the prices, it's not like some books, the reason the census is low is they're just worthless, right? Why would you bother getting something graded? This is
Right.
one of those books that if you look at the census, it's it's probably most of the books that there are out there because
Mhm.
it's worth getting graded.
Yeah.
It's like you're protecting your investment at that point.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those
Um,
pre-code books too, they were either thrown away or, moms gathered them up and burned them when the
Mhm.
when the when
well,
the
especially the
scare and the
pre-code.
panic
Yeah,
hit.
you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, the pre-code
So,
was like the big, that and crime were the ones that really were targeted by
yeah,
parents
right.
that freaked out. I mean, it was a bit of a witch hunt. There was some frenzy about the whole idea of comics destroying kids' brains and stuff.
Right.
So
Well, you did a whole lecture on Frederick Wortham and
Yeah,
Seduction of the Innocent. That was
yeah,
really cool.
yeah. So strangely, I didn't bring my Seduction of the Innocent books. I was going to bring a few of those. I'm sampling a few things, but you'll see. Next one. Okay. So going from pre-code horror. So I like pre-code horror. Now I'm going to switch over to another thing that I do like collecting, and I sort of got into it because I feel like I have to be semi-patriotic in life. So Canadian whites are kind of the thing. It was sort of an era where there was a trade embargo between Canada and the US. Well, actually from our end, not your end, where we basically blocked all imports from the US. And we were cheap about the way we made comics, I guess, because we did it in black and white. And so because they were these white books, they were called Canadian whites. And I picked up probably the most important of the Canadian whites. There's probably only 4 or 5 known to exist, and it is kind of the most historically important Canadian white. And it's this book. It's a coverless copy, but it's the first appearance of Nelvana, and I'll say it for Stephen, Nelvana. Just so he always complains that I never pronounce the L, but I do. I just say it in my Canadian way. But she is actually a superhero that appeared before Wonder Woman, and she was powered by the Northern Lights, and she was kind of like almost like a deity. Um, so we even had some of that mythology associated to her, and she would protect the Inuits from Whitey. That was the funny thing. And evil white men and stuff, right? It was really weird, but it was.
So would the cover have been in color?
The cover, yeah, the cover would have been in color.
Okay.
Usually the Canadian whites, a lot of them were two-tone. Like they would, like just like two different color, like very basic. And they were usually like toilet paper level of quality of paper.
Wow.
So the survival rate is just like next to nothing. This is the Triumph Adventure Comics #1 from 1941. So this is right at the beginning of that Canadian white era. The reason they did the trade embargo is they really want to save paper for Canada. So the thing is, like, the U.S. market is just so much bigger that if they didn't do the trade embargo, they'd probably like a lot of the stuff would get shipped out of Canada, and we wouldn't have had it for the war effort. So that was the kind of the logic behind it. But
I had never heard of Canadian whites. That's really interesting.
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
I have a few in my collection. Maybe about 10 to 20 in my collection.
Wow.
They're hard to get. Some are cheap. You can find some that are just cheap. There are a few that were saved for some reason, and then others are just incredibly hard to find. But they would be pretty interesting. Some of the publishers actually had the rights to publish American books, so we'd still get the American characters here, like Captain Marvel, for example. But they would give them different covers, so you get these like unique covers that you'd get in Canada. It was really cool. Like I have one that's a Captain Marvel cover, but it's a good girl art cover. It's like him surrounded by all these pretty girls. It's kind of funny. Like
That's interesting.
Yeah.
K Munin wants to know why that last book had a NG, a no grade on it.
NG is whenever it's coverless, CGC will denote it as NG. If I got this graded by CBCS, it'd be graded as a 0.3.
Okay.
Is what they call a coverless copy. I was actually trying to find a reproduction of the cover for it,
Oh yeah.
because it would look a little bit better. But actually, the cover is really ugly. It's not a pretty cover. It's just a bunch of planes. It's not really that great. Actually, this cover, like this coverless, is the splash is actually way better than the actual cover. That should have been the cover. It's a nice cover.
Cool.
Okay, so I kind of made a little bit of a segue into the next thing I was going to show, which is Good Girl. I think
Here we
probably
go.
my channel is most well known for showing Good Girl stuff. So I'm going to show you. This is the only non-Golden Age book that I'm going to show you guys. Well, actually, that's not necessarily true, but I'll show this one first. This is Showgirls, and I really like Dan DeCarlo. So he does some of the best Archie covers.
Oh yeah.
And this is actually Marvel that produced this one, but you know, if you know Dan DeCarlo's style, you can spot it right off the bat that this is a Dan DeCarlo. I think it's actually a Stan Lee story. Yeah, Stan Lee story as well. And yeah, these ones are just incredibly hard to find. They're really cool. Lots of Good Girl art inside as well. And it's just, I don't know, I like it. I just think they're sexy.
That's
fun.
awesome.
And it's like,
Well,
the joke on this one is, I thought he said there were no dancing parts in this show. That was before they applied for the jobs.
So is that a little more risque than Archie?
A little bit more risque, but not you know, nothing over the top.
Sure.
The interesting thing was, we think of Marvel as, you know, like all superhero. Well, there was a time when Marvel was all Good Girl. Like 90% of what they produced was Good Girl. They had about 20 different titles of Good Girl art comics. It was crazy. And they really didn't have any superhero books. They had given up on Captain America. They had given up on sort of all their flagship superhero books and went heavily into Monster and Good Girl. So it was kind of a weird time. After a while, people got kind of bored of it, and they were almost going out of business. And then they came out with Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
they really kind of ripped off Challengers of the Unknown to you know.
Big time.
Big time.
but to be fair, I'm not going to say they did it better, but it resonated more better with the it worked better for the audience.
I think both of the Marvel and DC have a long and storied history of ripping one another off.
Yeah, there's like so many times, like Thanos and Darkseid, and like, you know, this character and that character.
Is it Dr. Polaris and Magneto, or there's some magnetism person in DC.
There's like four. There's a lot of magnet people.
There's so many ripoffs between the two. You know, it's what you know. I guess I heard that they hung out with each other anyways. A lot of these people, and they would probably just share ideas, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's a really good idea. We'll do that." But one thing Marvel never got into that DC kind of went weird about was the gorilla covers. That was a very DC only thing.
There are a few Marvel gorilla covers, a few. Like I own one that's a Captain America one. It's like Captain America 138 or something. Like he's being dangled off the side of a building by a gorilla, and I was like, oh, that's neat, because you're cool. Right. Like Marvel didn't go whole hog like well, it's been fun talking to you guys today. Church with Bleak here in just a bit. We're gonna end early. Marvel didn't quite do it as hard as DC did.
I'm so glad DC did, though. So many great gorilla covers.
Yeah, I think they were getting kind of sick of it towards the end, but it was fun. It was fun. Here's so I showed Showgirls. Here's another title that I really, really like. This is Torchy, and it was done by Bill Ward. This is actually a Bill Ward cover. I just really like it's kind of like the ditzy girl who's super good looking. Everything goes for her, but she always ends up in the same state at the end of the story. So she's kind of poor, but good looking.
Yeah.
And then she'll get offered like some awesome job where they pay her millions of dollars, and and then for some reason she'll mess it up and then end up back in the state that she started at the beginning of the story. So that's kind of the rinse and repeat stories of these Torchy books.
Yeah, but, I really like the trade dress on that one. That's really striking and really pretty.
Yeah.
Bill Ward was an interesting character, actually. You know, in the Golden Age, you know, he did Torchy, and he did a lot of romance books. But later on, when the whole golden age failed, he got into more of the adult stuff. So he even later on parodied his own book, where he came out with a book called Scorchy.
Okay.
You know, and it was just
Was-
adult. It was
Did
adult
he do?
book.
Did he do cartoons for Playboy?
He did stuff
that-
with Playboy. He also did
yeah.
a lot of the ones for like Humorama. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Humorama, but it's kind of like an adult jokes book. And he
Okay.
would do like he would do what like sort of like pinups, where it'd be like just a one panel, but
Right.
very large, good girl art kind of panel or sexy panel, and then with like a one line joke underneath, right? You know, there was one, one of the kind of, I'll give you a good example of that. It's like a guy and a girl in bed, and then another guy comes in, and the guy in the bed says, "Wait your turn." It's like that kind of level of humor, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
My level of humor.
Yes.
I don't. It's you don't got to think about it. It's right there.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Michael asks if there's a Torchy movie series. He thinks there
No.
was. Was there? No.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Torchy's awesome, but no, I don't think so. But okay, so I'm going to show you a couple Torchies. So this is the other Torchy. I like this one. This is another fun one. I think this is Gil Fox. So yeah, Gil Fox. He was the other artist that did Torchy. And all the paintings are checking her out. I just think that's fun.
Right.
Yeah. So it's kind of a fun one. And these are like from the late, so kind of the peak of Good Girl is like, I would say 1947 to 1950, maybe even 1949 is kind of the peak. And then after that, Good Girl kind of got into other stuff. You know, it's sort of, you'd see like horror plus Good Girl, right? You know, or, you know, and the other one that I really like, this is one that I feel like is really underrated, is Junior and Sunny by Al Felstein. I've talked about this a lot on my channel, where I'm a big fan of Junior and Sunny. I just like the way he drew the girls. Like their clothes look like either they're a wet t-shirt contest or like static cling or whatever. Just his style. And this is kind of why I made the argument about Phantom Lady 17 being Al Felstein. Just if you kind of recognize this style of art, you'll notice it when you look at Phantom Lady 17.
Yeah, you had just said that.
Yeah.
With the the if
The
we need to
headlight
examine the way the breasts the fabric adheres, you're right. I mean, for science, we have to figure this out.
Yeah,
right.
I did a video where I said examining the boobs or something, something like that. I was like, and I was just talking about it. Yeah, I did a whole video about that. All for science, of course. But
you want to make sure your attributions are correct for which artist drew what.
Yeah. And for some reason in Junior or in Sunny, both of them, there's always a scene where she's getting a shower or, you know, having to change her clothes. And
well, hygiene's important, Alan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of fun. I'll show you one more Junior, or actually two more Juniors. Here's another one. So I forgot the girl's name. So the girl with the black hair is Dina. And I'm trying to remember, is it Shannon or I forgot the other girl's name.
But yeah, he has a style when it comes to those headlights, so that's for sure.
Yeah. Actually, this got him mentioned in The Seduction Instant. He did another series called Cloris Archer, and he did the same style.
Steven says it's Gwenny.
Gwenny. Yeah, that's it. This is Gwenny right here. I was trying to remember her name. I would just say random names until I get it. You know, that's the way my brain works. But yeah, so Gwenny is the blonde. Actually, I'm more of I'm a Veronica fan, so I go for more the dark hair girls.
Yeah.
But
I'm a Betty. I'm a Betty man.
Oh well, nobody's perfect. Okay, so
more Betty for me.
yeah, more Betty for you. Here's another Dina cover. So she's I don't know.
I just love the primary colors on these older books. The way everything pops, right?
Oh, like, really?
Everything
does pop,
pops.
I like yellow covers generally.
I do
so,
too.
Yeah.
Something else DC did a lot was yellow covers that just
Yeah.
it
They
just
do pop. I mean, they really do
they
catch
really
your
do.
eye, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So these are. I have the complete collection of both Junior and Sunny.
Wow.
Very cool.
Yeah. There's not that many books. It's like maybe 15 books or so. But the other, okay, so I showed you a bit of Good Girl. Another thing that I'm kind of known for is certain artists. One of the artists that I really, really like, probably my favorite artist from the Golden Age, is Alex Schomburg. So I like Alex Schomburg plus Good Girl. So I'm gonna want to show this one. And I like shark covers. So I'm a big shark cover.
Who doesn't?
And I love shark covers like this, where you have this really wonky shark.
Yes.
Sharks don't look like that.
It's a lemon shark.
Yeah, it's just the way it's attacking. They always attack like where they come like cone up. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like sharks don't attack like that. They're more
No.
yeah.
But I mean,
in
what
the
did
Golden
he
Age,
really?
This is how they attack.
I mean, now you can get reference in so many places. Back
Yeah.
then, how many references would they have had for sharks?
Not many. So
Not
yeah.
many.
Yeah, so this is kind of a fun one. Fighting
Very
Yank had some
cool.
really great covers, so this is one of my favorite just because I like the shark. Good Girl, lots going for it. So this is Fighting Yank number 20 from 1947. And actually, it's one where he fully signs his name. A lot of them you'll see
Oh.
it done with like Azila, I should say. So I signed
That's
her full
cool.
name.
Very cool.
And this is one of the Zilas, where it's, I'm not sure if you can see it, but signed Zila right there.
Mhm.
And a lot of his airbrushed ones, he signed Zila. I don't know, I'm not sure why, but I think he was just having fun. So this one, I really like this one. I think
mean,
she
yeah,
gets the point.
The
So, yeah.
X would be for Alex, but
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
Alex.
I don't
It's
understand the
Alex
rest of it.
backwards. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's him being silly, but
Yeah.
Alex Schomburg's a really cool artist. He's a very technical artist, actually. He was originally doing like for sewing machines. He would do the technical manuals and like draw out all the little features of the sewing machine. Well, he incorporated that into his art, where he would have these really obscure little details, like especially his stuff that he did for Marvel. He would like have like the contraption, whatever it was that was going to kill Toro, or usually it's Toro or Bucky getting killed for some reason.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they would have like every little, like you could see like this machine would work, like because every little like gear or rope or whatever it was would be there, and he would label everything too. That was his other thing. Like, it'd be like death machine, 10,000 pounds or something.
Yeah.
It's like, just as if you're gonna be like a murderous evil person, you got to label your stuff, right?
You
That's
have
how
to
it works.
know. You have to know
bit
how many
about, like,
pounds of pressure.
the bit about the bombs having the name of the cities that they're going to be dropped on scrawled on the
Yes.
nose
Oh
cone
yeah.
of them.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That's classic.
I did want to let you know that we're coming up on about the 5-minute warning. I don't want to rush you or anything, but just like if there's anything that you
Hey.
know that you want to get to, just wanted you to
Okay.
be aware.
I'm not in a rush. We can hang out for a bit longer today.
Okay, I actually had about 6-7 more books to show, but
Let's
then I
do
had
it.
something extra special at the end.
Let's do it all.
Well, go for it. Go for it.
You want to see all of it? Okay, I'll do it quickly.
yeah,
I'll be
all
more
of it.
rapid fire. Okay, so we got Wonder Woman. I collect Wonder Woman.
Oh,
I figure I should
awesome.
show number 1.
awesome.
I'm trying to show, like, if you want to know who I am, this is the stuff that I collect. So
Mhm.
That's
I
what we
really
want.
like Wonder Woman. She's my second favorite character. I still like Vampirella number 1. That's my favorite character. But I like Wonder Woman a lot, and I always felt she was undervalued and underappreciated. So, yeah, Wonder Woman. So that's that one. I mentioned that I collect certain artists. Well, I really like L.B. Cole, and actually, I'll show this one first. This is another one of these
cool.
iffy
Another
sharks.
wonky
I don't know what
shark.
it is.
It's great.
So this is Guns and Against Gangsters, and it's a great Good Girl plus shark cover. I just love Good Girl shark covers, and again, it's a purple label.
I
I
don't know
like getting
what's
things
giving
more
me.
affordably.
I don't know what's giving me this feeling, but that shark is drawn like it could be in the mafia.
Right.
Yeah, it's a gangster shark.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely.
Yeah, it does have that gangster look. I don't know, something about it too. I can see that.
I like how it doesn't have rows of teeth, but it just has this one row of
Yeah,
almost human-looking canines.
Yeah.
It's actually got a pretty good smile. It's got like
Yeah.
like yeah.
And
Hollywood
Guns
smile.
Against Gangsters sounds like a very strange support group.
Yeah, it does. So that's LB Cole. I'm a big LB Cole fan. And this is the other LB Cole. This is to me one of the big ones for LB Cole.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool.
that is great.
This is Blue Bolt 115. And Blue Bolt was like another one of those superhero books, but it got kind of taken over by the pre-code horror craze. But this skeleton guy with the hair, he kind of recycled his characters a lot. This appears on other covers, actually, the same skeleton, but this is the one where it's where you get to see it in full. It's probably one of his more desired covers for pre-code horror.
That's awesome. It looks like the emblem for a metal band.
Yeah, no, it totally looks like what's the band?
Eddie from Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Oh, it does look
a
like
feeling
Iron
that
Maiden.
They
Right?
might have actually been inspired by LB Cole.
It could
wouldn't
be.
doubt it.
100%. Like that, like even the shape of the skull, how it's like more triangular, like that. That's really uncanny.
Yeah. So this one I was so happy when I won it. I was like, oh man, nobody's bidding anymore. I got it. I can't believe I got it.
Cool.
So yeah, it was a big win for me. Okay. I didn't necessarily put these in any particular order. They're a little bit disorganized at the end here. So I'm just going to quickly show you some. I did get into more pricey Archie. This is probably the grail for Archie.
Betty.
This is a great Betty cover, and it's a sweater one. I just like that good girl, bit of sexiness, bit of innuendo where she's kind of hinting that he should come over and give her a visit.
She's going to refund his nickel.
You got to refund that nickel. So no, Archie, it isn't Veronica, but you called the wrong number. But if you want to come over to my house, I'll gladly refund your nickel. So yeah,
if he didn't go over there, he's an idiot.
So yeah, this is Bob Montana, and this is considered the big Archie book in terms of good girl innuendos.
That is really cool.
And then I always like this one. There's another good girl from Marvel, and it's Mitzi. I just like this one, but I distinctly said no cherry. I'm on a diet. So it's just it's a cool book.
It's cute.
It's cute. I like these kind of ones. And then I didn't show all of them that I kind of wanted to show, but like I didn't bring them all, but I really do like the female superheroes in general. Like, I showed that I like Wonder Woman, Nelvana, but some of the other ones that I like are Blonde Phantom. And they're supposedly going to make a movie of Blonde Phantom, which is kind of cool. Yeah. They were actually talking about getting Taylor Swift to be Blonde Phantom at one point.
No, she's going to be everything.
I think that's like Mephisto kind of level of speculation.
Yes.
100%.
So it's like, I don't know. She'd be a good Blonde Phantom. Blonde Phantom is kind of like a starlet that's like, or socialite that's a little bit bored and has to fight crime,
Well,
you gotta do
something.
Right?
You gotta do something to fill your nights.
Yeah.
You can't like go to a soup kitchen or something.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not here to help people unless we're punching people.
Yeah. Another kind of same idea is Lady Luck.
Oh man. She is surfing on 2 cars.
Yeah.
It's like the is it the Van Damme ad where he's doing a split in between the two
Yeah, she's gonna
18
do
wheelers.
splits. The cars are gonna separate, and then she'll do the splits. But yeah, I like Lady Luck. This is actually Lady Luck number 1. It's it says Lady Luck number 86, but it was before that. It was called Smash Comics. I think it's Smash. I want to say Smash. Does it say? Wait, does it say? I want to. Yeah, Smash Comics. I was right. Okay. Whew, I worried myself. But she started in Smash, and then she basically took over the title. As I said, this is kind of at the height of Good Girl when it was kind of popular, 1949. And I figured I'd show one more Good Girl, and it's this one.
Oh, wow.
And this is Mergy. I really like zoomed in covers. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
you don't see that very often in a Golden Age book. Like,
yeah,
just
I
a
like
big
these ones.
headshot.
Yeah, I like these big headshots, and I think it's kind of something about it. It's very cute to me. I really like it. This though is actually a key book. It's the very first appearance of Stan Lee in story. He's actually in the story, like he wrote himself into the story.
So this is the first Stan Lee cameo.
Right.
No, first Stan Lee appearance actually.
Well, I mean Stan Lee cameo as in like he would always show up in like Marvel movies as
Oh,
always
yes.
like that's what I mean.
Yeah. He's more in this as he's actually called Stan Lee. He, and whereas in the movies he's like, some random thing, but in this he's Stan Lee. He really, it's a very much a self-insert into the thing. So
I have a funny aside story here. My wife last week just learned that Stan Lee is 2 names, Stan and Lee.
Oh, she thought it was one name?
Well, she thought it was one name. She's like, I thought his name was Stanley. And I was like, well, his name is Stanley. It's Stanley Leibowitz, but he goes by the pen name of Stan Lee. So
Yeah.
it was really funny. My son was the one who told her about that last week. And she's like, I can't believe I didn't know that.
I got one last thing to show since we're kind of running low on time.
We're not low on time. We're not low on time. The day is ours.
Okay, so I figured I should show this. It is my collection.
Yeah,
and
sorry.
this is for
I've
Hagen. Actually,
I about that. So
I brought this
as long as you want.
This is for Hagen.
Go for
it.
So we got the Protectors number 1.
Yes.
And we got the ferret right there.
Yes.
Okay. And that's the newsstand version. We got the direct version.
Okay.
Right.
You got the yellow paper. I have the green paper version of that.
Oh yeah, there's like a whole bunch of different papers.
Yeah,
There's even an orange one.
There's a
like,
pink one, I think. Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a whole bunch of different ones. I got the yellow one. I thought the yellow one looked kind of cool. Black and
yellow. It does
yellow.
look cool.
And then there's the ferret.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do feel like he looks like what's his name? Fist.
Kingpin? Yeah.
He 100% looks like Kingpin.
I think we called him Cornpin.
Yeah. Cornpang.
So he looks like but yeah, so this is the ferret number 1. He also appeared in Malibu Sun.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay. And then obviously you have to, if you get those, you have to get his second ongoing series where it's like the die cut.
You gotta have that die.
Yeah, I mean you have to have it.
Yeah.
It's glorious.
But the book that I haven't shown like to the live audience, I've shown this behind the scenes. So
here we go.
So those are all like the ferret from Malibu Comics, right?
Right.
And I was told by Matt. Actually, Matt was the one that did the research. So Matt likes comics. He gets the credit. But I actually found the book. I wanted to find out what his first appearance was. Now, if you kind of look on certain sites, it'll say Protectors 1 is his first appearance. But that's actually not true. It's not his first appearance. If you want to get his first appearance, you have to go back to the Golden Age. And he was actually a character from Centaur Publications.
Oh, I love that it's Centaur.
Okay. Centaur is actually, for Golden Age collectors, it is like the pinnacle. You could have like the lamest book from Centaur and it goes for crazy amounts of money.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like they were very poor quality. It was very short-lived publication, and they were just cool. They were just really cool stuff. This is the very first appearance of the Ferret, and this is Man of War number 3, I believe, or number 2.
And is it a coincidence that Malibu also has a Man of War title in the Protectors universe?
Yeah. So the people that created the Ferret and Malibu were a big fan of Man of War and of the Ferret from this era. And this character is like the direct. It's not a ripoff. It is the same character.
It's the same name and everything?
Yep.
Okay.
So they actually attribute the Ferret to being this character.
But the Golden Age Ferret has the creepiest mask I've ever seen.
I know. He's like really...
Because it has...
One sec here. Am I showing the right one? Yeah. Wait, there. That's what
there it is.
Yeah.
So he's wearing like a ferret head, and the ferret's eyes are on his forehead. So he's like got
it's
4
like
eyes.
taxidermy meets the ferret.
It's pretty awful.
But from Matt's video, that story is that he's trying to solve people who are stealing milk. That's the crime. There's milk milk
that's
thieves.
A huge crime, you know.
I know.
So I thought that was cool. I figured I should show it here since Hagen was the one that started this whole ferret
all
mess.
All his fault.
Exactly. So I figured, hey, I'll show that book. That's a good way to end it.
Super cool.
So,
Alan, you brought great books, man, and I like you said, you kind of brought a piece of everything that
I collect.
Yeah. And that's, but I still don't feel like we, obviously we haven't seen it all or heard all your stories.
I have almost 2,000 slabs.
Well, wow. So, I mean, we're going to want to do this again sometime so that you can like pick something else to highlight.
Mm-hmm.
This is just so fun to like get to kind of do. Well, I mean, it's a 2-on-1 because it takes 2 of us to figure out what to say and ask in the morning. But when we invite somebody on, the Sunday shows kind of turned into just like a showcase of one person's collection and what they're into. And I think that's
awesome.
I
have that too, by the way.
Lyle just asked where was Mr. Canoe Head, so I figured I would give the people what they want.
Yeah,
I have one clear backing board, and I decided to put Mr. Canoe Head in it because he actually shows.
It makes sense. Actually, if I might buy some more clear backing boards and give him one.
That's not a bad idea. I have a lot of wraparound covers that I'm like, man, I don't. You want to be able to see both sides of it. It may be worth.
The only thing I've heard with the clear backing boards is they have a bit of roughness to them, and it actually could hurt the book.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
for Canoe Head, it's probably okay.
The books that I'm talking about putting in there, like it's probably fine. Honest.
you might want to consider it, Alan. We're gonna just go. We're gonna roll with it.
Yeah, it's probably okay.
Well, before we go, let's see. So next Sunday, I'm not sure what's happening next Sunday with the Sunday comic book hangover show. I know Hagen is going to be somewhere in the morning, and I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing either. So just, I guess, stay tuned. We may skip a week. Next Sunday being Easter, pretty big holiday. So not sure what's going to happen. But on Tuesday this week on my channel, we're having our friends from the FOMO squad. So we got Eric from SideQuest and Dope and Hagen and I, and then Ricky's going to join us as well. And we're all going to bring underrated books.
I haven't seen Ricky for a while, by the way.
He's back. He's back, baby. So he did just release a video because he moved into a new house and he kind of gave a tour of his room, and it was a really good video. So we're gonna get together. We're all gonna bring a couple of books or stories that we think are like underrated, underappreciated, things that people don't talk about but are worth reading. And then so that's what we got going on this week. And then today, let's see here. Well, I can't even control this because I'm on the wrong thing. Let's see. Here we go. Yep. So coming up next is Bleak. There we are. So Bleaker is probably running about right now. This cracks me up. So the Council of Comics has been doing these movie reviews, and the ones they're doing now, the one for today at 5 Eastern is Disorderlies, which is the Fat Boys movie. They were a rap group back in the 80s.
I actually know the movie.
I know I have seen. I remember renting that movie on VHS, so that one cracks me up. And then we've got our friend Dave, who we mentioned earlier, still only 35 cents. He's doing Odds and Gods. I love this Dan Morris Superman right there. The Sunday Super Show on Heroes for Hire. Katie kicking it with K-pop at 7. She's got Magnus Jakuta. I hope I said that right, but I love how she's highlighting indie artists
she always
and
does some
creators.
independent artists and stuff. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool. Then we got Legion of Comics at 8:30, and I love this. I think
this
it's
is
just
very TV Guide like, by the way.
Oh, thank you. There's a whole thing on Sunday. Like, it just goes. We just jumped on.
I didn't realize there was that much going on Sunday.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's crazy. You can do this all day.
Yeah, all of us are godless heathens, so we've got to find something to do.
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah.
This is, I can't remember the actress's name, but the actress that's going to play Supergirl. This is like the mock-up of the costume. And
Taylor Swift.
If that's what
it should be Taylor Swift.
If that's what they're going with, I am happy. Like, that looks great. And she
I like
was
the skirt.
I do too. It's got to be the skirt. It's got to be. And then the last thing here at 9 is Black Crown Comics doing a weekly wrap up, and our friend Cliff is going to be on there as well. Nice. So I think that's pretty cool. That's the day. Alan, thank you for being here. Everybody in the chat, thank you for being here. Please, if you're not subbed to Alan, do it.
Yeah, I'm almost at the 5,000 giveaway point, so that'll be
awesome.
The big thing.
Well, congratulations, man. Yeah, and that's something I didn't get into either. I wanted to talk about like how you started with YouTube and why, but we'll save that for next time.
We will absolutely do this again, man. If sure. You'll come back on, if you want
anytime,
to, we will do this again for sure.
I like hanging out and babbling about comics. So.
Don't we all?
And this is the first time I get to speak. I usually don't get to speak on my own shows. It's like, okay.
We tried to be quiet. I tried. It's just so hard.
It's joking. It's true. It's okay.
Well, thanks, chat. Thanks everybody for being here, getting up early and hanging out with us. This was a ton of fun. Hagen, do you want to hit the button?
Yeah, I mean, I will hit the button. We will see you guys later. Bye.
Have a good weekend. What's left of it.